Hi, I'm Tolly Mosley,
And I'm Renee Geneva.
and you can check us out at ecosheetclothing.com.
So today we're going to learn how to make your own t-shirt.
Make a t-shirt?
Make a t-shirt. The tools that we have for you today are scissors, pins, a measuring tape, and a sewing machine. So the first thing we're going to do to make your t-shirt is take a t-shirt that you already have.
Okay.
So this was one
My
that
t-shirt
that fits you and whatever, and we're going to turn it inside out. Lay your t-shirt out on the fabric. So to do the front, you want to make sure that you have the front seam out, and then from here measure across the shoulders and then find your halfway mark. And then from there you can trace. So you can fold it in half at those marks lengthwise and then cut your other half. So now what you can do, so this is the front. All right, so the back you want to do the same thing. The back is going to be either a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, just depending on who did it. You don't want your neckline to be as high as the back, so what you want to do is put it on you up to the shoulders and then measure how far down you want that neckline for your t-shirt. So after you fold this in half, you can cut this down to meet the neckline. So the next step is to sew the shoulders together and the side seams. I just do it about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is the sleeve. And if you take some fabric a little bit longer than you want the sleeve, then you can fold it over and put this inside out on top of the sleeve. So you notice that you have seam allowance here, but I want the fold to come right up to where the seam is. And then just draw a straight line for the bottom cuff. So we're going to pin where we make the seam that goes underneath your arm for the sleeve. Then we're going to bring the sewing machine back over and catch up with the bottom of that sleeve. Take the sleeve, turn outside out. You have the t-shirt inside out, and you match them up at the seams by tucking the sleeve inside the shirt. It sounds confusing, but what it lets you do is sew a flat seam. So from here, I pin the bottom, and then I pin the center top at the top, and then I pin the rest of it. So now we're just sewing the sleeves where we pinned it. When you notice commercial t-shirts, they all have binding on it. So we're going to go ahead and do a binding and show you how to do that. The first thing you do is you take your measuring tape and you measure the neckline that is on your t-shirt.
Okay.
And then your sleeves you definitely can take and double. So your sleeves are 16 inches each. Okay. So that's going to be 32 inches plus 23, 47 inches total. You have the selvage here, and then you have a straight grain here. And the bias is the diagonal away from that selvage.
Got it.
We need 2 16-inch pieces. Then we can take our ruler, draw a line at 16. And for bias tape for t-shirts, you really only need it to be about an inch.
Of width?
An inch of width, right. To put binding on your item, it's kind of a 3-step process. Okay. And I don't want to make this complicated, but it's what makes a t-shirt look like a t-shirt.
Okay.
You want to find the center back, and you want to take your binding and put it right side to right side and pin it on the edge of the t-shirt. And from here, sew that binding on first. And if it doesn't make sense yet, it will after you sew this on. The next step specifically for the bias tape is to fold it over and re-sew it so it folds it in. All right, so now if you sewers have heard of stitch the ditch, this is what you want to do. You want to stitch the ditch. That means when you fold it over and you get on the right side of the fabric, there is the place where the seam comes together. And you want to stitch right in that seam, inside that seam. And I'm sewing with a little bit darker color so you can see what I mean when I'm done. All right, now we're finished. Why don't you try it on? What do you think?
Pretty cute.
Actually, it is pretty cute. Look at that.
I think I'm ready to go out.
All right.
Thanks, Renee.
You are welcome.